We are live! Finally, I wrote a post about the fact that we couldn't go live earlier, but that's okay because when you come live on a show and you have other people involved and tech involved, something always happens. So, welcome to day 4 of Blue Talk's Amplify Your Message. And my co host today is Nola Peacock. And when I said hello to her backstage, I forgot her last name was Peacock. So I mentioned the peacock painting behind her, and she's like, I have so many things peacock because of my last name. I forgot. So, Nola, tell us a little bit about you so that we have some context behind the types of questions that you ask and where you're coming from.
Okay. Well, I love working with kids and with parents. I've just, seen so many kids struggling with confidence and, even being happy and wanting to be here. And I really want to make a difference there. So, giving kids and parents strategies to boost confidence and just be happier and more playful, right? Like the peacock, just be able to strut their stuff.
Oh, see, now I just want to do. We're going to dance. It's all good. I love that, Nola. And for those who haven't joined us for any of our other days, my name is Laura Lake, and I stand for Courageous Connection. I really want to take your mess to message stories and get into the emotional part of them, because when we go a little deeper, we understand why you're interested in these 20 different things that you do, and you have some language to help tie it all together. So it just really helps it flow, which you'll start to see in some of our interviews. Yeah, love that. Do the peacock dance. Only the peacock dance is now the strut. I mean, it's all good. Our first guest today is Olivia. So Olivia, give me thumbs up if you're ready. Awesome. Hi, Olivia. Okay, I have to preface this with the fact that now everybody knows you as the lady with the red heart-shaped glasses. Start there, and then we'll get into a different question. Tell us about the glasses.
I stumbled upon these by accident. So I like to call my accidental branding journey. And I'm in Jacksonville. So I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida, and I volunteer with a nonprofit group called Harmony Mind, Body, Spirit, Wellness. And as a part of that effort, I'm at the Jacksonville Botanical Gardens almost every other Sunday, and I gather a group of kids, sometimes adults, sometimes if the parents are willing, they come in and they join in like some playful laughter exercises. And we do a lot of like mindfulness and breathing and yoga, a part of that. And it was the week before Valentine's Day, and I was like, I really want to do something with this Valentine's Day theme and bring in, the kids involved, etc. So believe it or not, I'm shopping at Walmart. And I'm just strolling down the aisles, right? And like just checking to see what kind of like decor they have. And I stumbled upon these heart-shaped glasses, and it was like fantastic. It was just like meant for me. And I grabbed as many as I could off the shelf because I was going to pass them out to the kids. And it was so fun. Like that day, we just had so much fun. Like they're lining up and I'm passing them out to each one of them and they're putting them on. I put them on as well and they just loved it. And that day we practice I am affirmations.
Oh, nice.
I'm kind. And we played this game. It's so much fun. Have you heard of the I Spy game?
Which like 5 of them. So do tell. Which one do you mean?
Well, just like there's the book series, like I Spy, right?
Yes.
Like tiny little objects within these hidden images, and then like I Spy, and like just seeing what's around them in the park, right? Like maybe a turtle, the tree, whatever.
Yes.
And so we modify the game to say, I spy with my loving eyes.
Aww.
On them. And it was so wonderful because they would say, like, I spy my loving eyes, my mom, my brother.
That is so cute.
Yeah. And so from then on, it just stuck with me. Like I couldn't take these glasses off, because people started recognizing me for that. And especially in a virtual environment like this, and I'm newer to the speaking space, and I wanted to stand out, wanted to stand out in business and to be recognizable. And so that's what people resonated with. They're like, we really see your heart energy. We really see like how much you radiate your generosity and love from these glasses. And so here they are. And now I'm the gal with heart-shaped glasses.
The gal with heart-shaped glasses. So just change your name right now. Instead of Olivia, you're no longer Olivia. You're the gal with heart-shaped glasses. Savvy social pro. Okay, so usually there's some sort of connection between the things that we do and the work that we do. So does this little story with the heart-shaped glasses and the botanical garden and the cute little kids and affirmations, Does that have to do with the message that you share through your business?
Yes, it does. And I was in the middle of like changing the name. I was like, see how quick I could do this. Yes, because I am trained in laughter yoga. There is such a thing, laughter yoga.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely loved it because laughter yoga gave me a whole new meaning of life. And how I found out about laughter yoga was just through my online networking. It's changed.
That's so cute.
So through online networking, I got to meet like so many incredible people outside of my geographical area. And I never thought to do that, right? I never thought to like talk to people in Canada or Mexico and, have a worldwide community and having the online technology and tools. Like StreamYard is incredible that we are able to get to do this. And so I was able to network with a woman named Kathy Nesbitt, and she's in Ontario, and she, practiced laughter yoga. And I immediately was so intrigued. I wanted to sign up for training under her. And knowing the laughter yoga philosophy and understanding how to activate your own laughter. I hope we get to do that on the show in a few minutes.
I was going to ask later. Yes.
It's just been so incredible. And I'm able to kind of tailor these programs for my own, for what I do with the nonprofits and for my speaking. And it's helped me to kind of reclaim some of the joy that I felt was missing from the pandemic, from that crisis, from, my previous job in industry in recruiting. And I've come now to help people heal their inner child. Like that is like the number one comment I get when I do these laughter workshops. And people come up to me like, I feel like my inner child has been healed as a result of what you led us through. And so, and again, like I never was intending that. And it just came about so organically, and it's beautiful. And I've tied that into now forgiveness. So how the healing power of laughter can help you with forgiveness. I've adapted the Ho'oponopono meditation with regards to laughter. And, yay, Susan! And so it's just really amazing to have it all unfold. And I believe that, because I'm stepping into who I am, like this new persona, like things are coming to me.
I love that so much. It reminds me of one of the coaches that I worked with in the past. There's been lots. She was taking us through this child healing technique. And I remember my inner 6-year-old, all she wanted to feel okay was strawberries, chocolate, and to sit in a tree and talk. And I was like, okay. So I'm imagining myself like getting the strawberries and chocolate, handing it to her so that I could climb this tree. And I start climbing the tree and I get up into the tree ready to sit on the branch with her. And she already has an imaginary friend next to her on the branch. I'm like, where did that come from? And she's like, that's my highest self. Where do you think imaginary friends come from? And I'm like, wait, you can do that? She's like, yeah. So like we played for a few years, but there's always the different versions of our inner children at different ages, different developments. How do you see that kind of perspective shift helping people in other areas of their life?
So it's just recalling that playful nature. Along the way, we lost it. And, there's ways to access that part of you that was so full of wonder and imagination and curiosity and exploration. And so I really want to help people reclaim that part of them. And, it's like that can still be a vital part of who they are today and as adult self. And for me, I've forgotten like my 10-year-old self. And, I look back to like that time in my life and it was just so incredible. I became a big sister, I'm the oldest sister of 2 younger brothers, and my youngest brother at the time was being born, and I was like stepping into this new role of being a big sister, and he was born with mental health challenges, and I really had to step in and help my parents out with that, like babysitting and whatnot from an early age. And then now that I'm starting like this new venture of like my business and new career, I remembered, right, my 10-year-old self, like taking on this big responsibility, like having to now caring for others, in this case, clients and colleagues and associates. And it was a really big deal. Like I didn't recognize at the time, but my 10-year-old self was calling for attention. And I realized that I could rely on her and know like those early skills I learned early on about being compassionate and helping other people. Like I could still use that in an advantageous way now in my business.
Oh,
Instead of like feeling like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. I think that sometimes like in entrepreneurship, you kind of have to feel that way. And I learned through over time, like, as much as I'm wearing these glasses for other people, like I want, to build rapport. I want people to like me, right? I want to win them over instantly. And I see now that I can wear these glasses for myself. Like I can have that same compassion towards myself, encourage myself, be gentle and kind to myself too.
Was there a time? Yeah. Go ahead, Nola. You can interrupt me anytime you want.
No, I just think that that's so beautiful. And, getting in touch with our inner child, I think that's so important. Some of the, meditations that I do with clients, right? I include a part where they just get to go and play with their inner child. And so many people have commented like, oh yeah, I've gotten to play. Yeah. So I'm just, wondering what, thinking, what are the kids' reactions when you wear your glasses, and, how do you see them? I'm guessing, light up and stuff, but what are some of the things that you notice when the adult around the kids is playful?
They can't stop staring at me sometimes. Like, who is this adult with the fun glasses, right? And so I'm at the park, and so we get a lot of passerbys. Like I have classes that you can register an RSVP for in advance, but then I always get the passerbys, and I'll see like kids walking with their parents hand in hand, but they look back at me as they're still walking forward because they want to stop, and then they like tug their parents' hands to like come over and stop. And I do this fun thing, like I have a table set up, I have a wheel, and so they always, and that's such an attention grabber. Like they want to spin the wheel to see what's on there, and they actually have to do an activity or get a prize. And one of my activities on there is laugh for 1 minute, and I actually have a little timer to get them to laugh for 1 whole minute. And if they do, they get a lollipop or stickers. But it's so much fun. So I think kids, they just naturally appeal to me because, like I'm someone that's fun for them. And then I love it when kind of the parents are a little bit standoffish. They're like, let's just let the kids have their thing. But then the kids want their parents involved. They want their mom and dad to be silly with them. And it's the most beautiful transition that I see, and I'm so glad for that because I feel like it gives like a ripple effect to their day. Like they can carry on this like laughter and positivity and have it carried with them throughout their entire day now.
It's the same thing with my daughter and her friends. Like ever since she was in elementary school, there was a lot of other parents who were like, so which kids are yours? Because like all the kids would want to be around me because I acted playful and like them. And also because I talked to them like they were human beings and not in the way. So like that kind of relationship is still going in junior high. And her friends now are like, hey, Sidoni's mom, because we look so much alike. Sometimes they mistake us. And it's like this really fun thing, but it allows you to build trust with people at the same time. So it's this is me. I am authentic. This is how I'm sharing love and connecting with you. And yet it's also unwavering because you're leaning into it. Do you help people lean into it? Have you ever come across somebody who didn't, I guess, want to lean into that childish, playful side of themselves?
Oh, that's a good one, Laura. Something that just came to me, Nola, is that, with kids, like we teach them very young to like be kind to others, like do things for others. And so here I am with kind of helping them, like you can be kind to yourself too. Like you can take time to be nice to yourself and like do nice things for yourself and start that at an early age. And so I think that's what I bring now with the kids that I work with and their parents and families too. So did someone not want to lean into it? Yes. I mean, I get some skeptics once in a while, right? Because they're like, this is silly. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, what do you mean activate my own laughter? Why am I laughing? I'm laughing for no reason. Like, that doesn't make sense. So I do get some skeptics, but over time, it's just like that mind-body chatter, right? Like your mind is just trying to figure out like what's going on and making sense of it, like the logic, but your body just feels so good with the laughter vibrations, and you're seeing everyone else around you having a good time and laugh, and like you want to be a part of that. And so they may be skeptical at first, but over time, it's just, they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. And then I try to find ways to make them feel included. I have lots of props. I have lots of ways to kind of observe everyone around me and, bring people together. They say humor is the shortest distance between two people. And so it's just kind of figure out, like, what is their humor style? What kind of humor do they gravitate to? And then perhaps catering to them that way.
Ooh, I never thought of my humor style before. I'm definitely not a farts joke kind of girl. I like the nerdy humor. I like the dirty humor. I like the sarcastic humor. Like, give me Deadpool. I'm good.
Oh my gosh, yes. So, like, this research really fascinates me because I'm a professional member of AATH. It's the Association for Applied Therapeutic Humor. They've been around for 30 years. It's like this amazing nonprofit. They bring together many disciplines, a variety of professionals from all sorts of disciplines to really understand humor and using it, right, as a daily practice. And so we learn through Humor Academy, like our humor assessments, and there's several that you can take online. I think the most well-known one is Andrew Tarvin humor assessments, and you understand like your humor.
Somebody type that.
Yeah, humor
I was like, somebody type that in the chat.
And so you learn, like, are you one that really likes like verbal humor, like the puns? Like, I love puns.
Oh my God, I love puns.
Are you someone that are you someone that likes more like slapstick humor? And that's okay. Are you someone like more like sarcastic humor? And there's so many different humor styles. And just understanding like your own and what you're comfortable with and what's appropriate, etc. So
I don't usually bring props, but when you said puns, I really had to show you my husband's Father's Day card, which we just wrote puns all over.
Oh my
like
God.
Front, back. It's just covered in dad jokes. Okay, like what washes up on tiny beaches? Microwaves. Dad, you're a real fun guy. Like just horrible jokes like this. We gave it to him. He loved it. It was great.
Oh, so Father's Day was actually like at the park, right? So we had a Father's Day event at the garden, and I had a box of like just like dad jokes that they would and just read. And so, why is it that when dads become dads, like they've got this like dad joke thing going, and it's because their humor becomes apparent too.
My daughter came home with that last year. I was like, oh my God, that's so good.
Awesome. Jokes aside, like we really don't need much else other than our own internal, tools to activate laughter. So for example, like you can just rub your hands together like this. And just be like in anticipation and excitement, like, ooh, what's going on today? And today can be a beautiful day, right? So even just doing that and feeling the sensation, like the temperature and the warmth of your hand, like that's your magical energy, right? Like, ooh, anticipation. And then we start clapping because we really have to ease our mind and body into it. So we'll clap in rhythm that looks like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the way we clap is we make sure our hands are totally in alignment, like our fingers are lined up, because that's acupressure points. So you're getting like a massage because of the clapping. I know, way cool, right, Nola? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So that's where you start off with, and then now you add in like a laughter sound. So like Laura, what's a laughter sound?
I'm thinking of Santa Claus. I feel like it sometimes when I wear red.
Perfect. Nola,
and I was thinking about it earlier.
What's a laughter sound for you, Nola? So we got ho ho.
I did, yeah.
Perfect. Oh my gosh,
kids, right?
So I would, what laughter sounds are, right? And you just come on your own. So now with the clapping of the rhythm, we say ho ho, ha ha ha.
Oh.
And that instantly already just gets you laughing, like right there on the spot.
I love how this, like, I wrote a post about coming on late, and then I was like, you're going to get some laughs. You're going to come for the laughs, but you're going to stay for the stories. And the wonderful people. I was not planning this with you. We did not talk about this behind the scenes. It happens. We get some laughs in here. Ooh, so why did you get into laughter yoga? Like, what is the story? Was it always laughter for Olivia, or was there something that kind of inspired you to go that direction?
No, it wasn't always laughter for me. I mean, I have a very positive, kind of cheery outlook. And
Hmm.
would you believe, like in the jobs that I work, well, people would say, like, you're too happy.
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
why are you so positive all the time? And it kind of just like struck me off guard. Like I had to tone it down, because I was in an office and I worked in
Yeah.
recruiting and like a staffing agency. And in the pandemic, like this was in 2020, I could see like there was sort of a shift in my industry, like jobs were being furloughed, working from home. Companies started to like, freeze their hiring budgets. And so I really saw a shift in my industry where I was juggling like maybe like 10 requisitions a week down to like one a month. And it
Oh,
really
wow.
forced me to kind of like, you know what, maybe my recruiting career of a decade now has served me well and it's time to move on, maybe to find some other new
Mhm.
things, a new creative outlet. And locally in Jacksonville, I had completed my 200 hours yoga teacher training. And normally from that experience, you kind of go find your specialty. And that's where, I turned to online network and I met Kathy and she introduced me to laughter yoga. I'm like, you know what, maybe this could be my thing. And I'm so grateful I did that training. I did the training, I got certified. I led online laughter yoga classes, and then I found a nonprofit to connect with, to volunteer with them. And so it's really just been an amazing journey. And I never thought like why laughter would be so important. And I could be myself. Like I could finally like be my joyful, positive self that
Mm.
I had to like suppress when I was in my
Yep.
job.
Hmm.
And I love myself for it. And people appreciate that because I give them, the space to allow themselves to also be free and to release their laughter, right? Because what happens when you don't laugh enough, all the emotions
Oh,
are bottled up inside. And so laughter is that
yeah.
sort of release. And that's where the forgiveness ties in. I had a lot of like unresolved sort of like feelings
Yeah.
from my job, from my previous manager, from the work I was doing. And so now, I can do laughter and do like a laughter forgiveness sort of meditation. So have you heard of like the Ho'oponopono prayer? Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
But do share for those who don't. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So for those of you who are watching and are not familiar with the Ho'oponopono traditional Hawaiian prayer for forgiveness, there's 4 phrases that you say. And it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Yay, the pens, the pillars.
I was like, we've been doing this all week. I might as well continue.
Might as well continue.
Yeah.
Well, as you think about those phrases, add in some movements, right? So, for example, for the I'm sorry, you can make the letter S. This is a sign language sign for the letter S.
Yes.
It's a fist with a thumb out. And so you can rub your thymus area like so, like here. I'm sorry. And so you do this.
Dropped all my pens. It's all good. I have like 20 more. It's all good.
Exactly. So I'm sorry. And then
Sorry.
please forgive me is your palms outstretched. Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Then it's thank you.
Thank you.
And then I
Thank
love
you.
you. My favorite part,
I
I love
love
you.
you.
I love you.
And so here's your heart. And as you can imagine,
Mm.
this is your heartbeat, right? And so like your heartbeat pulsates. There's a rhythm. That's a different one, Laura. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it pulsates, it vibrates. You can make this beating motion. And I would encourage you to add in the ha, right? So perhaps just like a heartbeat, it's faint, it's soft, it's a murmur. But then as you infuse more energy, more laughter into it, it gets louder and more explosive.
Stronger.
Ha, 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 ha,
Ha,
ha,
ha,
ha,
ha.
ha, 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 ha. So every haha is like the ripple, right, of forgiveness that you're extending to that person, to that
Oh,
energy, maybe for past wrongs that you felt, still deep inside you. But then remember also to receive that
thank
forgiveness
you.
for yourself, and then
Mm.
honor that inner child. honor your own intuition of the path that you're on. So, as much as you're giving forgiveness, also be able to receive it too. So you can embrace yourself in this way. And then again, honoring the inner child by just leaning into her or him or they and giving yourself that moment of supportive touch. And it could be like just rubbing your hand on your cheek like this.
That's what I started doing. It's like I got to take the opposite hand and I just kind of do this. It reminds me of my daycare providers. They used to put me to sleep by rubbing the side of my head.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would be awake and wake everybody else up. So they were like, fine. And they would just rub the side of my head for an hour. So now every time I'm really down, that's what I want, is I want somebody to rub the side of my head.
And you can do that for yourself. Yeah. And even like patting I love that. The rubbing the side of your head, or even like the patting, the gentle patting. And it's beautiful. I think, there's a lot of research about reparenting ourselves, and that's where that comes in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about the reparenting. Nola, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's so important, right? Because our beliefs that we have as parents, are ripple down to our kids. So yeah, that's beautiful. So what other tips do you have for us for parents to reparent themselves?
I think journaling helps too. So I love that, Laura, that you said, what would my 6-year-old self do right now? Like sitting in the tree eating strawberries. So I think just journaling that and really imagining that scene and acting it out. And maybe even like a fun journaling technique is like writing out the actual dialogue, right? So adult Laura, 6-year-old Laura, adult Laura, 6-year-old Sarah, and like just writing what that dialogue is, and then perhaps reading it aloud.
Okay, I haven't seen my inner 6-year-old in about a year because she now lives with my highest self inside my heart. It's like I just visualize things. And now it's my 8-year-old that I didn't have a whole lot of memories with. There's a phase between grade 2 and grade 8 where I don't have a lot of memories. Most of it has been shut down. So my inner 8-year-old came out and she just kind of hung out but never said anything for a while. And she kind of visits and comes back and visits and comes back, but she hasn't said anything yet. But now you're making me want to go sit in that tree, like right now down the road, and go eat some chocolate and strawberries and just think about my inner 6-year-old. I never thought about actually doing it.
That's really, really beautiful. And I will say too, we live in like this very like digital world, right? And so sometimes just like helping you just to shut off all the devices and do something analog, like with your hand. So
Climatree.
Yeah, climatree. Roll around in the dirt, or like put your toes in dirt. But also just like for me, like I love like painting, collaging, like using scissors and cutting things up, or maybe for you it's a hammer and nails, whatever it is. But I always encourage people, like, yes, like we're on the computer, we're on our devices all the time, very digital, and so make space for those analog activities too. So paper and pen.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned earlier that you're a speaker. So I want to kind of get into the ways that you like to share this message, with people. What kind of speaker are you? Like, were you one of the people who were on like UCLA or Harvard or like MIT? Did you go to one of the Blue Talks events yet?
Yes. So my very first speaking event was at Blue Talks Harvard.
Harvard?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I never really thought of myself as a speaker. I'm comfortable public speaking. I've spoken before, right? When I went to conferences and meetings and whatnot, but never thought of like having the actual hat, like professional speaker. And then it was through writing books, and big shout out to Deborah J. Hollick. So she was putting together an amazing book anthology called Live Life and Wow. And I was part of that book, and I was, writing a lot, just chapters, like contributing my chapters around the laughter yoga and like the different things that I was involved in. And then after writing that book, she got me involved into Blue Talks. Like she introduced me to Corey, and it was like, I think it's great for our stages. And then I already had the chapter written about laughter yoga. And so from that chapter, I, created my talk. And it was so much fun. It was like, and it was my first time like ever like speaking at that level, right? Like this was like a
Yes.
major production. I was being
Mhm.
like televised. I had like this video project. I was at Harvard. And it was just so amazing. What an incredible experience. It was so much fun because I got to explore like my style of speaking. And I actually had 4 different types of
Yes.
glasses, and I wore them throughout my presentation to kind of like have it as a metaphor for the different phases I was going through in my life.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that.
And it was so exciting to be part of that. It was my very first event. And since then, I've gone on to like speaking retreats. I was part of like R.V. Robinson's speaking mastermind, and that was in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And funny enough, like that's where Heidi lives. Like Heidi is our event coordinator, and she lives in PV. So I got to hang out with her even after Harvard.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's just been like amazing again. And I've got my eye now on like Blue Talks at Oxford, right? Like that's where I want to see myself in the fall.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. Now, you did bring up the fact that you were exploring your version of being a speaker. Tell us a little bit more about that, because I don't know if people really understand that you don't have to be behind a podium with cue cards and memorize your speech. Let it go, gal. I want to call you gal. Sorry, no, Olivia, because it was there. The gal with our chick glass. Olivia, what is your version right now of being a speaker?
I think one of the best advice that Corey gave us kind of like during our training, right, leading up to the Blue Talks, was just you have to be the best version of you. Like you're not the next Tony Robbins or Brene Brown. Like you are the next Olivia Vogt. So I'm like, all right. So, and I really wanted to have like a playful side, right, to my speaking. I wanted it to be like almost like a performance. Corey recommended this amazing book to me. It's called The Alter Ego by Todd Herman, and I've been reading it. And it talks about, accessing like this part of you for the stage. So like with me, like my glasses help me with that alter ego. And so it's been a lot of fun just exploring that, who do I want to channel when I'm on stage, but at the same time still be true to myself. And I love like improv. I'm taking acting classes in Jacksonville with the James Institute. So I want to like have that element of like performance and being able to include my fun props.
Yes.
So that's my signature style as a speaker, and I don't have to like rely on PowerPoint.
Yes.
And I can add in laughter, right? So I love like getting the crowd to activate their laughter. And so I think for me, like when I started my Blue Talks, I remember it so clearly because we had these steps we had to walk down. And so as I'm walking down the steps, I'm just like laughing as sort of my entrance. Who needs a theme song when they just have their laughter, right? So
there's theme songs in my head all the time. Actually, when I was walking down the stairs, because I'm one of those speakers who I have an acting background, so I'm usually all over the stage, and my face is usually making weird things for photos. So it's like, if you want a good photo, you better take it now. So I was singing the marriage march, da, da, and I was holding my version, not this version of the Blue Talks book, and I was like, da, 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 like down the stairs. We had a grand old time. But yeah, the props. I love that you understand that you're a prop speaker. Do you need the props, or is that just your favorite way to express it?
It's my favorite way to express it, and I love sharing props too. So like at that particular event, I like passed out the paint swatches. So I was at Home Depot, and in front of the paint wall, they've got one that says it's a bright yellow color and it says smiley face. So I actually passed those out to everyone.
So many paint colors. My background is architecture. I love these things. Plus, I'm rebranding, so I have like so many paint swatches.
Absolutely. And what fascinates me is that who comes up with those names, right? Like who names those paint swatches? And so there's one that grabbed my eye. It was bright yellow, and research shows that staring at bright yellow colors helps elevate your mood. And so I passed it out to everyone as a prop, and I said, draw a version of your smiley face, right? So
I like that too.
Great.
That's so good. Okay, see, now I want to have just a little bit of a conversation. So Nola, do you have a specific speaking style too?
Yeah, it's more intuitive. It's just asking what I
Yeah.
need to say.
Yeah.
I laugh because when I had no intention of ever speaking. I was always really shy and as a kid, and then intuitively, I was actually at an intuitive workshop and. With Karen McGregor, and she was starting to train people to speak. And I went to her in tears going, I think I need to take this course. And she goes, yeah, you do. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
ways. But, it's some of the things I've learned like beforehand, right? Like to prepare. So I'm wondering, Olivia, like, do you have any, routines that you do before you get on stage to give
Oh
you
my
that
gosh, yes.
courage?
Well, laughter for one, right? Because that will help calm my nerves. So laughter. And one of my coaches, gave me this advice about just filling the whole room with my essence. And so I imagine myself like just floating above like everyone. That essence works too.
It's all good.
And so I really love that. I love like being able to just go envision the space and like filling like the corners and the walls and like, infusing it with my magical aura and energy. And speaking about props, I mean, I feel like that's just a reminder, like not only you like being memorable, right, in an audience, but, just giving people a reminder to take a moment of joy for themselves. And so I wanted to shout out to one of my fellow collaborators. She's local here in Jacksonville, but I've been really involved this summer with the Jacksonville Women's Business Center and networking for local opportunities here. And I came across a woman who's a baker. So her name is Nicole Richardson Way, and she's the owner of Lizzie's Bake Shop. So she made these cookies for me. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Isn't
Even
it?
got like the reflection of the glasses. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Interesting? But
Wow.
I love these. And so I feel like this is like my new favorite prop that when I finish speaking, I'm going to give out to people. It'll have like my sticker and my logo, of course, too. But,
Yeah.
She's really conscious about having like healthy cookies, gluten-free things. Yeah. And then, these are homemade, and she took so much care and time in like getting the frosting right and getting like the sparkles, the glitter, all of that in these cookies. And it's such like a sweet reminder, like, hey, like have a sweet treat and be playful and then laugh. So
See, now you take that clip and you tag her in it. And you're like, look, I love you so much. I showed everyone your cookie.
Right.
And so like this is just like my new favorite thing, and I can support like another fellow woman entrepreneur, small business. And so like that's a really big part of my mission too. Like I love collaborating, not just virtually, but locally too in my own community. I know. And I have to figure out a way with her. Like maybe I can mail these out. Like I feel like this could be my new signature thing. As I work with people, I can send these out, right? Like as a gift. So I have to figure out
so cute.
these cookies.
Okay, so we have about 7 minutes left. So I want to make sure that we talk about where to find you, but also I want to make sure we really get down to the core of what is it that you need people to take away from this conversation today. Yeah. Just like, oh, I need.
So I am going to leave you with an acronym of how you can laugh more.
Ooh. Okay.
So get those pens,
somebody
Laura.
type it. I was like, somebody put it in the chat. I'm usually that person, so somebody else has to do it.
So laugh more. So 5 ways, right? So
5 ways.
For the letter L. The letter L is let loose. Let loose. Let go.
I like that.
Okay. And then for the letter A is admit that you're human. Be the first one to laugh at yourself.
I guess I'm human. Guess. Limitations and all.
I have this thing that I do with people, like, just raise an index finger and just point at yourself and just laugh at yourself, right? So next for the letter U is unwind. Unwind with laughter. And that's as easy as setting a phone timer for like a minute. and just let yourself laugh, like you were doing, like wearing red and pretending you're Santa, ho 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 ho, or
Yeah,
right? But
it's all
do it
good.
for 1 whole minute to unwind. And then
Mm,
the trick too is like after that 1 minute is over, give yourself another minute to like breathe and relax, because in laughter there's a lot of exhaling. So you want to take in
yeah.
like mindful deep inhales too. Um,
Yes.
G is to giggle, like
Oh,
giggle,
yes. That's usually what it is. Giggle.
Right?
giggle,
So, like, picture a little 6-inch fairy. That's what my husband does. And he goes,
giggle more. Yes.
yep, geez, giggle.
And that will just, embrace your inner child because you're giggling. And
Mm.
H, and I saw you do this like maybe 2 months ago on another Amplify Your Message event where you just take a pen and you harness your smile. So that's H, harness your smile.
Oh, yes. Oh, since we're here, I am going to, like, put up, somebody was so nice. Look at this. Look at this. L, laugh more, get loose. Yeah. And then we have, I wonder if it does too. Yep. Admit that you're human. Tell me how we're doing. U is unwind with laughter. And then, oh, sorry, I missed G. That's fine. H is earnest your smile. Let's go backwards for a second. And G is giggle. So yes, one of our other blue talks is we would put the pen in our mouth right between the front of our teeth. And then you say the tip of the tongue, the teeth, and the lips. And as a speaker or a voiceover artist or anything like that, where you're using your voice, it helps to loosen the muscles of your tongue so that you can articulate and be more clear. So ready? The tip of the tongue, the teeth, and the lips. The tip of the tongue, the teeth, and the lips. The tip of the tongue, the teeth, and the lips. And now, like, everything here is just slightly looser. And it makes you laugh because you're like, why is there a pen in my mouth? But yeah.
I know these are muscles and they need activating. So yeah, harness your smile muscles.
Exactly. Oh my God. I'm in a voiceover group because I'm thinking, I love this idea of voiceover. And somebody, like, one of my favorite video games is Horizon, and one of the bad guys in it, Hephaestus, I was in a clubhouse room with him, and he's like, you have such a voice that you should be doing voiceover work. I'm like, this is me all the time. This is me in person, live, like, it doesn't matter. This is me. So I'm like, maybe I should. And one of those people were asking exactly that, like, how can they train their voice to have more depth, more less stress in there, to kind of be more flexible. Giggling, that was one of the things I did tell them. I was like, work the vagus nerve. So you got to giggle, you got to laugh, you got to hum. And then that little tool with the tip, right? So being a speaker, there's all sorts of cool tips like this. So Olivia, like, where do we find you? What is your favorite way for us to contact you?
On Linktree. I can actually put in the chat, but I
Sure.
have all my socials on Linktree.
I forgot that was still up.
linktr.ee/Olivia Savvy Pro.
Cool. And everything is on there?
And everything is on there, all my socials, yes.
Which socials are you on?
See a video clip of a laughter exercise that I do. Get your dose of daily laughter. So the word dose itself will tell you all the neurochemical benefits that you get. So if you looked at video, let me know that you did it.
Do you have a hashtag that you use?
Hashtag laugh with Olivia.
Laugh with Olivia. Okay. Nice.
And yeah, I have quite a collection of glasses. I wanted to show these off today because
yes, I was going to say, give us a fashion show.
These just came in, and so I love these.
And they, just so that everybody else knows, they don't have any lenses in them, right? Those are just like lines through.
These are my party glasses, yes.
Yeah, it's like get your glow sticks. We start dancing. We go to a rave.
Exactly.
Okay, you should look up Gioli and Asia on YouTube.
I will. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
So, like, the louder they are, the more rave music. The quieter it is, the more chill music, because it blends high energy music with meditation music.
Oh.
It is, oh my God, I love them. So yeah, do that, do the rave, get the glow sticks going. And then when you want to chill, just take them off and be like, I'm good.
Yes.
Okay, show us your other ones. Show us your other ones. We have another 30 seconds or so.
I love these.
Yes.
This is my coming up roses. They're red tinted, and so everything is red and rosy,
Mhm.
and they got a little bit of a glitter.
Now you can make them 3D glasses by putting a blue on the other side.
Yes, right. And then I love these because these have a little bit of a gold tint to them. So,
They're so cute.
but yeah, I have glasses almost in every color to fit like my mood and
Yeah.
my outfits. I'm wearing red today, so I have all these red pairs. But if I was wearing a different color, yellow's my other branding color. I love yellow, so I wear
Nice.
yellow glasses with that.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for being here and so much for letting us laugh today because it started out a little questionable. So it's like, this isn't working the way we wanted to. It's all good. We made it work. And we really appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, Olivia.
Thank Laura.
And then we have our next guest who has been here since the very beginning. I have to give her a huge shout out because she has been with us behind the scenes for like an hour and a half. It's great. And look at her with her heart-shaped sunglasses. You're on mute, Missy.
It's a theme. We're doing a theme today. Right? I love that.
There we go.
I love that.
We'll need to send you some. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oop, hold on. I touched my computer and now it's wiggling. Stay.
Although
there.
I am a lover of Olivia's heart glasses. I think I'm going to change my name just slightly.
To Miss Olivia?
Yeah. Right. Just go back to something a little more simple. Yeah.
A little more simple. Well, we're here to talk about you for the next 45 minutes, Missy. And I'm so very grateful that you decided to stay with us because now we get to talk to you live and everybody else gets to meet you too. We had some fun backstage. So, Missy, usually what I've been doing this week is I've been having a little more playful questions. And I do want to start with it again because we didn't do it with Olivia. If there were 3 words that you would love other people to use to describe you, what would those 3 words be?
Oh, goodness. I hate to bring, that's tough, right? Because I'm on a very different topic, but I'm going to go with enthusiastic because I think that's on point. Reliable. And
okay.
I'm going to define that one in a bit, I hope. Enthusiastic, reliable, and efficient.
Ooh. I can't even spell. I was like, why? Reliable. Okay, it's enthusiac. That's what I wrote. And I was like, no. Enthusiastic, reliable, and efficient?
Efficient.
I don't know why that one got me. I was like, oh, girl after my own heart.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? We're living in a time where, people want to take time to laugh, but they look at the things that are going on in their day and they're just like, I don't have it. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I'm tapped, right? The news cycle doesn't help in any real way.
No.
Everyone's talking about a podcast or a television program or a streaming service. And, you're always feeling like you've got to catch up on 15 things. So efficiency is kind of really important these days in a way of how do I really get to all the laundry and things that I really want to do, right? So and that's kind of what what I'm about. And I think the enthusiasm is really important because if everything seems like a chore, right, then it's pretty enervating, really, right? It's a lot of E words today. But
it works.
So, you want to make sure that you're doing things because you love them or because you appreciate what they give you in return. So, yeah.
That's exactly what this show is. Like at first it was all volunteer and it's like I spend a lot of time doing this, but at the same time, and I'm really learning this right now, is having these conversations, meeting people like you and getting to know them on a deeper level, not just their business marketing sales pitch. It fills my cup. It makes me feel seen, heard, and understood. And it's just so beautiful for me that it allows me to do the laundry, to do the dishes, and to do my business without becoming overwhelming.
That's right.
So,
And
yeah.
it's critical, right? I don't think people look at things like, like some of the things that Olivia was saying just a few minutes ago, right? She was talking about her business being the weight of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's got all this positivity, all this energy, but, she still uses words like, my business is, the administrative elements are the weight of the world. And I want people to stop feeling that way, to understand that there are better ways through, that you can adapt and adjust so that those elements, those administrative things that you have to do are also things that you can be enthusiastic about and you can love. So.
Ooh, okay. Then I'm going to ask you this. Advice time, please help. I do not like email. And I'm struggling with this idea that I know I need an email list because I had my social media go down once and I thought I lost it all. And so I had no way to communicate. I know email is a backup, but I'm completely resisting it. It's driving me nuts. Where do you help people in those moments where it feels like you know what you need, but you're just not there?
Well, the first and most important thing I think people really need to understand is that you are the most important asset that you have, right? When those CEOs get up on their talks and they say our assets are our people, I don't think they really understand what they're saying, but it happens to be factual, right? The people are the most important assets, and you yourself are your most important asset. Right? So you've got to make sure that you're taking time. When you say, these are the things I need, and these are the things that I want to do, you need to understand where you show up in there, right? So I think it's important that you take the time to make sure that what you're saying you need is what you really need, right? For example, people think they need $1 million. I don't know if anyone has ever really thought through what they would do with $1 million, but that's their mental space where they get to, because they don't actually want to think about money, right? And money is sort of like this negative term. Well, I'm a CPA, right? And I've spent a lot of time dealing with money, and I can tell you, it's not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, the difference between people who have money and people who don't have money are people who plan for money, who spend time thinking about it, not in a negative way, not in a, it doesn't have to be, oh, I don't have, or I need, or I must get, but just in terms of creating an expectation and an understanding around it, right?
Yeah.
So, and being an important asset means understanding your value. And in this culture, in our universe, that involves having some financial literacy to be able to apply terms of what that value actually is, right?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more then, because we
can go
do
down a million rabbit holes on this.
I know, but like, I've been having a lot of conversations about value, and since I'm planning a conference and value is one of those pieces, it's on my mind. Like, how do you articulate value? The conversation's usually around money, but we also know that there's other aspects. Can you elaborate on what value really looks like in many ways?
Sure. I mean, if you think back historically throughout time, only recently has value been financial, but been a money measurement, right? Yes. Value is technically a time measurement. The one thing you'll never get any more of is time. So when we're talking about how much value you give to your laundry versus your business versus your email list, right? You really want to think about it in terms of your time, right? Your time is your most valuable asset that you have to make yourself feel valuable. And that's where efficiency comes in. Doing the things that you're not excited about but getting them done in an efficient and effective way allows you to spend more time doing the things that are meaningful. Yes, value is a time measurement.
Yeah, that was mind blowing for me too. I had to put that one up there.
Yeah,
like,
sure. Sure. So, I spent a lot of time, as I said, I'm a CPA. And the reason I'm a CPA is because I was hit by a car when I was 9 years old.
Good. You knew where I was going with this.
And,
Do tell me the story.
and my parents are immigrants, and they were embarrassed that I was hit by a car, right? Because,
Why?
it was just, it couldn't have been anyone else's fault, right? I had crossed the road.
Oh,
Maybe it was just,
okay.
there was something I had done, right? I had invaded someone else's life in a way that they couldn't control their car. And, I was in the crosswalk at the wrong, whatever it was, right? They were embarrassed. And the fact that they needed help, right? Hospitals and cast settings and all those things was really traumatic for them. But the interesting thing is they were so embarrassed that they didn't even know that, you have to drive a speed limit. And, there were things that the person driving the car had done inaccurately. So they offered us a very low amount of money, and my father took it, and he was all, embarrassed to do that, right? He just took it to cover the medical bills, and that was it. And it occurred to me that he didn't understand the value of his child, right? As an immigrant coming he didn't feel like he could, express the value of the child. He didn't feel like he had a place or the respect or the opportunity to be, to represent that, that there was some kind of value exchange here. And it occurred to me that value is such an important element, and money is the way that we value a lot of our time, right? We exchange our time for work in almost every experience. Mm-hmm. So explaining to my dad things like financial literacy and getting to the right degree and getting to the right space where I was able to do that was really important to me, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where, so I became a CPA, and I ended up helping people make money and creating efficiencies. And then I started to say, why am I spending time making money for other people?
Yep.
So about, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, I went to work exclusively for nonprofits.
Aww.
And here's the great thing about nonprofits. I mean, talk about value, right? I mean, even though I'm doing a very administrative role in a nonprofit, I still feel like I'm creating value, and I still feel like I'm adding to the mission and the impact of what these nonprofits are doing. And I've worked in all kinds, all the way from animal conservation in Africa to ice flows in Antarctica to community preservations, historical nonprofits, all kinds. And they all have the same problem, right? They're so excited about the mission. They're so excited about what they're doing that administration and finance is an afterthought. And when they hate it. And when they get to it, they don't even want to do it. So it's a great opportunity to help people create space for these other administrative tasks. And these are the things that they do.
I liked this question. Do you have a favorite nonprofit, since we're still talking about it?
I mean, I work for quite a few. I'm afraid if they're online, they're going to
pick one.
That's okay.
Do I have a favorite nonprofit?
Well, it doesn't have to be like a certain company nonprofit, but like, what's a cause that you feel connected to? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think conservation is definitely something I'm very much into, because I think we do, in terms of the time that we're on the earth, we do owe a survivable planet to the people behind us.
Yes, please.
Right? And I understand that there's a lot of conflict about what that means and how we go about doing that. But the idea is the physician's oath, which is the Hippocratics, do no harm. Right. I think ultimately we have to do our best not to do any harm to the environment any more than we already have. So organizations that prioritize those things and measure their impact on on the planet, I think are the ones that are near and dear to my heart. And therefore, it's not so much what they do, but the fact that they care enough to measure their impact, regardless of what their mission is, seems to me something that resonates with me a lot.
Aw, I really like that.
That's
Yeah. I mean,
beautiful.
do you feel like are there nonprofits that you guys really love?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead, Nola.
Well, my favorite it's called Helping Families Handle Cancer. And the founder was one of my patients. I was a pediatric oncology nurse, and Carrie was diagnosed when she was 13 months old and given a 10% cancer surviving. And she's here, and and she, her mom was a single mom at the time, and so struggled financially. So Carrie wanted to make a difference for other families when they have a child going through cancer. So that's my favorite one. So
that's amazing. And at the end of the day, when you think about what we do, it's that's impact on lives, right? I mean, even what we do here, right? Having a conversation about how to make finances, more appealing, how to create financial literacy in the world, make people less afraid of the administrative and the financial tasks that they have to do. You can't get away from that impact on families and finances.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I love when you said, appreciate what it gets you, right? Or what it gives you. So I think, one of the things when I work with kids too, it's like, when they say, oh, they don't like their homework, and so, and I think when we feel like we have to do something, right, there's resistance always. And so, I like to get kids to, to switch their perspective a little bit and go, well, actually you don't have to do your homework. And what would happen if you didn't? Right. And then, oh, well, I'd fail it. Right. And then helping them work through and see, okay, so by doing your homework, what is that giving you? And that works magic with getting kids to do chores as well. Because one of the things that kids tell me all the time that they want more of is time with their, like, one-on-one time with their parents.
Oh,
so it's like, okay, so if that's, what you want, kind of reverse it. And how can you help your parents so that they have that time to spend with you? And so they'll just jump in and go, oh, well, I'll, unload the dishwasher. I'll do this. So I love that, helping to switch their perspective.
Yeah. Education is another really important one because, again, as we're talking about the legacy that we're leaving on the planet, I think what we decide to teach our kids about their experiences and about the experience of cultures that they don't share, that they're not a part of, right? Is really important. And I think it's a conversation that we're having as a country. And I think it's critical, right? When we think, and for what you're talking about, which is, that idea of sort of flipping the script on people and saying, hey, what would happen if, right? Those are great questions because, as you want the children to basically to sympathize, to empathize with their parents. What do my parents need? How do I make their lives a little easier, right? Give them a little bit more free time.
Yeah.
So I love that. And Laura, did you have a favorite nonprofit?
I very much do. I don't have a name yet right now. I mostly just support the Canadian Mental Health Association. So mental health is very important for me. I dealt with, attempted suicide, depression, PTSD, anxiety. And so a lot of the entrepreneurs that I work with, we're actually the ones that suffer from mental health more than service providers, more than veterans. And that's the conversation people don't have is they think veterans and, police officers, firefighters, they're the ones suffering from PTSD and depression the most. No, it's entrepreneurs. And then with the pandemic, it has made everything so much worse. But yet if entrepreneurs are the ones helping to question and innovate and change, and yet we're the ones holding ourselves back because of our mental health, that's where I'm going to make the most impact right now. And having that experience, like, it's like, try not to cry. I usually do.
It's a big emotional day. You've gone from laughter to tears.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty normal. Yeah.
Right. You're in touch with, something that's meaningful and impactful to you. And
Yeah.
when I tell you that these organizations and these people who run them, they are so mission. It's so wonderful to have a conversation with these people about their mission. And when I tell them that my mission is to create financial comfort and literacy around those missions, right? It's like they breathe a sigh of relief, right? They're like, how can we create something together, something meaningful that allows me to continue on with these mission things without being afraid of, my annual report or the finance committee or whatever else is, impacting their ability to go out and serve their communities and serve entrepreneurs or solopreneurs who are struggling. So, awesome.
I know that it takes a strong person to do a nonprofit kind of work, especially like business owners, having that income, hopefully, because of their mission is great, but also taking it that step further and committing to a nonprofit or committing your time to a nonprofit. It's so heartfelt to me that I'm glad you're in that space, and I'm glad that you're helping them to do the things that they don't like to do so they're more efficient to make it happen. We need people like you.
Thank you. But I think, even the term nonprofit grates on me a little bit because it's defining defining the work, not by the impact, not by the mission. It's defining the work by their financial impact, right?
I like that. Yeah.
And so we need to come up with a new term for nonprofits. We just have to, right? We have to say they have to be impact organizations or value-based organizations versus profit-based organizations, right? Because we put so much emphasis on whether or not somebody is making money, and that's the measure of the value. And there's so many other measurements, so many other things we can measure, right? Like how many people we helped, how many beds we provided for, the unhoused. There's so many other things we can measure and we should measure and should bring us pride and joy. But we have everything defined in terms of profit these days. And this whole thing of nonprofits and this term that we use, it's just so financial, right? So we need to come up with a new term. I want to vote. Let's do that today. Let's just come up with a new term, and we'll make the entire country use it the same way, right? Value-based organizations or impact-based organizations, something like that.
I like that.
I do too, right?
Okay, we're voting right now. We all agree. It's changed. Done.
We're done.
Awesome.
When we talk about, as all kidding aside, though, I think we have to figure out ways of creating more financial literacy in general, right? Especially for people for whom finances do not want. We don't want the emphasis to be finance. We want finance to be like HR. Nobody ever calls themselves an HR organization. We want it to be a function, right? Something that assists the rest of the organization. And that means we have to get people comfortable with that idea that money is a tool and not an objective, right?
Or a weapon.
Oh,
I've seen that way too much. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we have to get people comfortable with that. And that means teaching people things that we don't teach in high school, like budgeting and accounting and investment and trading and things that really are impactful. Everybody does it. I mean, everybody has to balance a checkbook or pay a credit card statement at some point, but we don't teach those skills at all, right? At all. We ignore it and we say it's somebody else's job down the line. So when you're talking about education and making kids accountable for their parents' time, one of the things that we want those families to be able to do is to feel like they're building some generational wealth and they're communicating what that looks like and how they're going to get there, right?
Go ahead.
We talk about diversity and equity and inclusion, but the generational wealth is one of the biggest dividers we have, right? In minority versus non. I mean, everybody's kind of a minority, depending on how you class yourselves, but minority versus non-minorities, and BIPOC situations and things that, BIPOC families and things, we just need to be able to create more opportunity, and that requires education and people getting over their fear of finances.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So what I'm
just, it's just a Thursday morning for me.
Take it off.
Just Thursday, whatever.
Yeah. So what do you think, as you said, kids don't learn those kind of things in school. So, what ideas do you have to be able to share that information? And it's so important for kids to understand those things.
So what's really interesting, right, is that I finished a book called Generation Giving Back, which is really about the difference it's about the generosity crisis and sort of the difference between how we used to support nonprofits and how we support them now, and how the new generation of people coming up, what they're looking for in terms of nonprofits, which is better management. They want their nonprofits to feel trustworthy. And that trustworthy comes down to the administrative processes that are involved, right?
Yeah. Stop with the paperwork. Start with the change.
Right. They don't want to read 15 pages of reports. They want to be able to know that the organizations that they support are ones that are that have impact and that are making a difference in the community, and that there's actual processes in place that are keeping them afloat, right? So that means that we need kids to be able to understand that kind of trust, right? And they need to be able to understand how to build those kind of trust mechanisms, which means you have to explain to children, especially in high school, I think is probably the right place, maybe middle school, what it means to have a budget and expectations around a budget. Right? Yeah. What does it mean to, we almost have a dichotomy of classes in a high school these days. Kids who spend whatever they want, and there doesn't seem to be any controls at all over them. And kids who really fight for making sure they get 3 meals a day. And that gap is growing, right? And we're not teaching either one how to be accountable in the middle, right? How to basically set a plan. We were talking about planning a little earlier offline, how important it is to set a plan for what we do and how we talk about money. And I think it's important that we make sure that they do, that we go into budgeting exercises in high school and we talk about what it means for both sides of these, of these types of kids, right? Those who don't have to worry about money and those who do.
There was one day in the kitchen. I live in somebody else's house right now, at least for another 9 days. I'm moving 3 times in 4 months. That's crazy.
Oh, I heard that. That's
all
crazy.
Good. I'm okay. I'm safe and I have a roof over my head and food in my belly. We're good. So we're in the kitchen, and one of my housemates has this peanut butter that they put on something, and then they take the butter knife with peanut butter still on it and putting it in the dishwasher. And then we had this conversation about, that's how you know that this particular person grew up with money. As the rest of us who grew up poor, we're like, we would have licked every bit of that peanut butter off before it went in the dishwasher. And like a whole tablespoon of butter with peanut butter was still on it. Things that you never would have thought of that are so tiny when you look at them, but if you dive a little deeper, have this whole story behind it.
Yeah. I've never would have thought of peanut butter as a referendum on social economic differences, but I hear you. I get it. And, if that's the way that kids understand economic differences, that's where we start. We have to meet people where they are, and we have to make sure that they are getting those messages, right? That there's a way to do, there's a way to teach economics and economic responsibility that is fun, right?
Yeah.
And peanut butter I may have to add that one into my lesson plan.
Okay, another tiny example. Growing up, my mom was a seamstress and we didn't have money either. We grew up quite poor. Anything that broke or needed fixing, we fixed it ourselves. We learned to sew so that we could sew our socks 10 times before you threw them out, right? People with money would just go buy new ones. So you have socks that barely fit you from like 3 grades ago that you've sewn with different colored thread because
Yeah.
that's what you had. And now you have these multicolored socks with teddy bears on them from when you were 7.
Yeah.
Right? It's just these little moments.
And now they're in fashion, actually. I don't know if you've looked at jeans recently. They're all ripped, straight, and I'm like, wait a second, I had jeans like that, and they were not in fashion when I was.
That's when your grandmother would knit or crochet something, and then you just put the patch over it, like they weren't there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
It's a big. I mean, it's an issue, and I think it's the one that we're going to solve. In our generation. I think really optimistically, I think we are going to be able to create a hunger for more financial accountability. I think our kids are going to want to understand money. They already like sort of cutting edge financial education. Like they want to talk about crypto. My daughter's boyfriend in high school, she was, as I said, I'm a CPA. So he was like, can you do my taxes? I'm like, yes. He's like, well, I have crypto. I'm like, well, that'll be new for me, but I can do it. Right. They like these new ideas. They like the egalitarianism of crypto, right? That anybody can do it or anybody. And so I think that they are figuring out how to make financial accountability fun, right? They're learning how to make it fun. They're looking at even organizations that do food preparation delivery services. I don't know they were like very big during the pandemic for sure. And they're still big, but they've changed their messages a little bit.
Yes.
They're talking about now how there's no waste involved in those types of delivery services like there is when you get, delivery from like a restaurant or something like that. You're not wasting as much food as when you go to the grocery store, right? You're getting these food delivery services, you're preparing 2 or 4 meals, and it's better. So I think kids are learning, right? That there's something to licking the peanut butter off the knife, right?
You got to go against it, right? No blade toward, just as an FYI.
Oh yeah, if there's kids watching, please do not use your finger
or
on
adults.
the knife. Don't put your tongue on the knife, please. Whatever Laura says, don't do it.
Oh, my dad was a meat cutter, so by the time I was 7, I was using a bone saw and knew how to sharpen my own knife.
Wow.
So like I was taught from a very young age how to do it properly.
Absolutely. You're a light among nations, no question.
But coming back to this conversation, like I also know that I am a role model for my daughter. And if I'm wanting her to have all of this change and the ideas that we're talking about, I can't rely on the school to do it. I can't rely on other mentors and exposure to people in her life to do it. So I am trying my best in the moments that I have to take the initiative to teach her how to sew, to teach her, about money mindset, to teach her about business. I actually gave her a cell phone because we're moving so much and it's all new to us that I didn't know where she'd be every day. I was like, look, we're getting you a cell phone. She's only 12. She's 13 now. I was like, I'm getting you a cell phone. But if I'm paying for it, you're working in my business. So now I'm teaching her video editing and like graphic design and that kind of stuff so that she's working to pay for her phone. And if she wants extra, she has to work more.
Beautiful.
Right. So it's a lot of this responsibility.
It is a responsibility. right?
Yeah.
But a responsibility, when you break down that word, and I'm kind of an etymologist,
Yes.
right?
Oh, please do. Yes.
When you break down that word of responsibility, it's the ability to respond. It's the
Mhm.
responsibility is not an obligation,
Thank
right?
you.
A responsibility is where you're giving people the tools that they need in
Mhm.
order to make decisions that better their life. They are able to respond to the whatever challenges, opportunities, whatever you want to call them, in front of
Mhm.
them. You are giving your child a responsibility, the ability to respond in the future to her growing set of needs, which right now is a cell phone and soon will be, a new computer and whatever else.
This is her computer. I stole her computer because mine broke down.
Well, you're a horrible mother, Laura. What can I say?
I know, right?
She should be
Make it work.
charging you back. If she's listening, she should charge you back a little bit. She should make
I
you
should
make.
clip this and send it to her.
Yeah.
So good.
Well,
But
yeah.
it's important. I think responsibility, and I think that's the same thing that we think about when we think about nonprofit education and in addition to just children, which I know is an amazing topic. We could talk about them all day, but also nonprofit people who work in passionate jobs, right? They also need the ability to respond, which means they also need to be financially literate. They also need to be people who are who look at those opportunities to create, to understand their impact, to measure what they're doing, right? And to make it meaningful to their donors or their bosses or whoever it is that's taking an interest in the work that they're doing, and make it relevant and real. One of the other big conversations we're having right now is people working from home versus people working from the office, right? And that's another conversation that's very big right now. So you're talking about, the people who want to work from home, they want the flexibility of working from home.
Yes.
And the people who work in the office, they think that they're not able to transfer institutional knowledge if they don't have people in their line of vision, right? But if you're working with a good administrative, process and proper alignment around plans and responsibilities, it's just not that hard. You can get the flexibility and you can get the productivity that you need, right? It's not the same. It's not the same way you work in an office, but you don't have to sacrifice anything to do that. And as we teach our kids more responsibilities, which I think is a critical message for today, we get the opportunity to really say, hey, this is important, and this is the way you will earn flexibility, right? If you think about it, and not to pick on your daughter too much, but a cell phone is
please
really
do.
an opportunity. Okay, I pick on mine a lot too, so I might as well switch frames a little, pick on yours. But a cell phone is in and of itself kind of a flexibility, right? It means you can be someplace where you did not previously agree to be, and somebody can still reach you.
Yeah. It's like she was taking the bus by herself for the first time. We don't live in the same area, so like somebody has to drop her off, and I'm like, I need to know where you are, because I wasn't sure if she could take the bus or if she missed the bus. She needed to know that she could call me at any time to say, I'm lost. I see a road sign that says blah. Can you come get me? Like, I needed that security.
Yeah.
Whew.
Well, and the other thing about responsibility when we teach our kids that is it helps them to stand in their power, right? Rather than handing it off to somebody else and waiting for somebody else to do something. They have,
It's a really good point, Nola, because I think when we're talking about standing in power, it's that power is a relational concept, right? It's not just self-defined, it's relational. So when your daughter stands in her power, it's because she's able to give you what you need, which is an idea of where she is and when she'll be home, right? power is relational, which means you have to, standing in your own power is not an individual exercise. It's an exercise in relation to the things around you.
Mhm.
Right. And when you give her a sense of financial security, which is not giving her everything she wants, it's giving her the ability to understand where she is, what she, how to trade X versus Y, time for work, how to trade productivity and effort for money, whatever trade-off she's making. Those powerful statements, those are really, that's, she's saying, what do I want? I have the power to decide what I want and to exchange what I have for what I need, or what I have for what I want.
And I just make sure that when we do have that conversation about, working in my business and me paying her phone bill, that she knows this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a designer or that you have to be a content creator. These are skills that can be applied any way you want in whatever work or career that you have defined, right? Like you can be these 5 different things as one. It doesn't have to look like a cookie cutter thing.
Right. And we were talking about the fact that people want to kind of define their own working environment, space, time frames, etc. I mean, when I was writing, I write my books best at 2 a.m.
Exactly.
We're closing in on the end of my workday, and I'm on the West Coast, so it's only 10 a.m. So, because I do my best work really early in the day, which is great for my East Coast nonprofits or value-based organizations.
Yes, there we go.
Got to have to retrain myself.
Edit.
Which is great for them. But, not so in the so the people who work out here and those types of standing in your power, I think, are really important to also measure, right? Is back to our original conversation about time. That people are really individuals. They're really different.
Yes.
In and of themselves. And I think it really makes an interesting point when we say to them, you can exchange your power, right? Who you are in whatever, if you can be a content designer one day and an accountant the next day and still be you.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So whatever your exchange, you're not detracting from yourself because you have to do your invoices for your clients today. It's still part of who you are. And there's no shade in the time you spend doing, investment planning and the time you spend doing content creating.
Oh, I have loved this. I want to be mindful of time. So will you give us a little bit of a recap and just tell us, what is that thing that you need people to take away as a part of your message?
I think what I would really love for people is not to have fear of their finance and their administrative responsibilities, right? Just like everything else, that those are abilities to respond to those needs that you have. And I'd like to see my role, my impact on the world is to help people feel better about those responsibilities, right? I want people to feel that they're still in integrity when they're doing their administrative and financial work, right? So that's probably my big takeaway. Sorry, that was short. Maybe you wanted it to be.
No, that's great. I know. Like, spreadsheets. Oh my God. Okay.
You could love spreadsheets. You could.
I do. I love them.
You could.
So pretty. So
for
then,
those of you who don't love spreadsheets, come talk to me. I can help you love spreadsheets.
Great. So now this gives us time. I'd love to finish with you giving us some sort of awareness question around your message. Something that can make us think beyond the next couple minutes, but something that maybe we could answer quickly right now live. So what is something that you would like people to think about a little bit more around this topic? Yeah.
I think I would like people to, I want people to really evaluate and own their fear, right?
Ooh, okay.
What are you afraid of, right? When you're out, Olivia's got the weight of the world on her shoulders, right? She's so sweet. She's got the weight of the world. What is she afraid of, right? Why is this the weight of the world? And I think I want people to sort of like examine that question so that, and then say, how can we create a new reframe for that, right? How do we reframe that so that it's easier and better for you to, to sort of take those things. Thanks, Olivia. I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, and I
so
like
happy
this
to
one
know
too.
that.
Look, someone else loves spreadsheets too. Woo!
Kindred spirits.
Oh, to answer that question, I know that my fear has to do with my value. Growing up, it was safer for me to people please. It was safer for me to try to make my environment as safe as possible and as perfect as possible so that I was physically, mentally, emotionally safe. And so it still comes into my life today where I prevent myself from doing things or I overwhelm myself by doing things in hopes of feeling safe by constantly adding value. There's that disconnect between the doing and the being for me. Like I know, but it hasn't been embodied yet.
But your value, right? So then
Yeah.
then what we do is we show you how your value, right? We make that value impact. We show you how that impact is happening in the world, right? And it's very comprehensive. We want to make sure that you have those, you understand your actual value and not just whatever your people pleasing mindset is telling you your value is. Right?
What about you, Nola? Do you have any fears that you feel hold you back?
Yeah, same thing, right? Just wanting people to like me, and so, and that's been something I've really worked through since my cancer diagnosis. And it's like, no, I need to love myself just as I am, and let go of this people pleasing. So but it's I think work in progress, right?
Yeah.
But that's
what about you, Missy?
I think my fear is, I think when I think about owning my own fear, I think my fear is really making sure that I'm meeting people where they are, right? When you want to be so impactful and so helpful to people. Sometimes
Yes.
you're just not hitting them where they are, meeting them where they need to be. So I think what I work on, my work in progress, is really creating space for people to, evaluate themselves and create things and an organization and an impact community that makes them feel like they can grow and change and evaluate, and be work in progress without feeling like they're missing some boat or something.
Okay, somebody type that in the chat. I'm a work in progress. Everybody can say it too. I'm a work in progress. We all are. Oh, Missy, this has been absolutely lovely. I knew I was anticipating. I was like, oh, she's a fellow redhead. And I read eyes, so I'm like, I could tell that you're deeper in the way that you like to explore ideas like I am. And I'm like, I don't know where this conversation is going to go, but I know it's going to be good. And I did. I had a lovely time.
I'm so glad. Me too. You guys are really amazing people. And just from meeting you today, I just want to say how grateful I am for the impact that you make in the world. So thank you.
So good. How do we find you? Where is your favorite place to communicate?
I'm a LinkedIn girl, to be honest.
Okay.
Right. So find me on LinkedIn. Okay. I do a lot of, I'm going to call it journaling, but it's really article writing. And I also have a book out called Generation Giving Back, which I hope it's on Amazon. So I'm hoping you, that's also some place to sort of like get a better feel for sort of where we are overall in our financial integrity.
Yeah, we didn't even have a chance to talk about you on stage and you in books and you on podcasts. You might have to come back. I wouldn't say no.
I'd be delighted. Be fun. Thank you so much.
This was absolutely lovely. I even let it go over time, and I'm like, I don't want to go too much over time. But
no, I hear you. And I don't want to be, again, if you're going to be efficient, you got to be on time.
I know. I was like, 5 minutes is my max. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the backstage. I'm going to say goodbye with Nola, and I would love to stay in contact.
Of course. So, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Missy.
Bye.
Okay, lots of juicy things today. Lots of laughs, which I guess I predicted. Cool. What was one of your favorite things about today, Nola?
Oh, there were so many. I mean, I love just the laughter, right? Just remembering that, the giggles, and then when Missy said, appreciate what it gives you, right? Just having that perspective, and right. So even emails, if you do your emails, what will that give you, right?
I know. One of my favorite things is to look at those words that we use and to lean back and to take a broader look on where did these words come from? What do they actually mean? And so when Missy was doing that with words like responsibility, my brain is just screaming, yes, yes, like I love this stuff. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to Nola for being my guest co-host today. This is the end of day 5, but don't worry, we have one more day coming up tomorrow. And it's way over there. We are starting one time block in tomorrow. So if it starts, I'm trying to do time calculations. If it starts at 11 a.m. my time, that's 10 a.m. Eastern normally, but we're one block in. So it'll be 10:45 Eastern, which is 11:45 Atlantic in the morning. So same bat channel, mostly same bat time. I will see everyone tomorrow and much love. Bye. See, now I got to dance it out. Ready? We press the end and then we just dance.